Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 13 of the HotSauceZee podcast. It's been a pretty crazy week here in Texas. Our COVID cases are going way up, so having to deal with pretty good measures to start reducing. They've closed bars and they've reduced occupancy in a lot of businesses back down to 50%. So that's causing a lot of issues, for as far as in real life goes. We don't want to get into those too much. I hope everybody's doing good where they're at. I don't know what kind of measures other places have got right now, but I wish all of y'all the best of luck as far as dodging this thing goes. I also saw there's a heat wave going on or something over in the UK. Looks like everybody's like really roasting over there. Us Texans, like to make fun of people that don't understand heat, but I totally empathize with you guys because a lot of y'all don't have like central air in your houses. I mean, here in Texas, if you didn't have central air, you're nuts, We've all got it, and we all pretty much run the AC nearly year round. But if you live, somewhere like in the mountains, or if you live more in the, northern areas of the globe, you don't a lot of times have central air. So I know that's tricky. Hope y'all stay cool out there for the people overseas in England. Let's get into some game topics. We'll start talking about some stuff. This first topic I want to talk about has really been in the forefront of the conversation I've noticed on Twitter. It's been a pretty big talking point among some of the streamers like Enders and some other guys, and it's one that I've been curious about myself and curious as to why there's not being anything done about it. And I'm of course talking about cheating on PC games, cheating and hacking. Like, what is going on with the cheating on PC games? It's completely out of control. It just seems like, as far as like Battlefield games go anyway, it just seems like every other game you're running into a cheater, and I don't know what's happening and why nothing is happening to get rid of these people. The problem's so rampant. I think as soon as, first of all, I don't think reporting even does anything. I've reported numerous cheaters. As soon as I see them, I go onto the scoreboard, get to their origin profile, and report for cheating. And there's different ways to do it if you're on console, but that's the way you do it on PC. And of course, there's more cheaters on PC. But I just think that the reporting doesn't even do anything, and it's really, really annoying, and it's driving some of the bigger streamers crazy because these cheaters, they'll follow the streamer around, and oh my gosh, the dog, Sadie. No. Okay. Anyways, they'll follow the streamer around and cause them a lot of problems because they'll just stream snipe them the whole time. And okay, let's get started again here. Had to get the dog out because the tags were driving me nuts while I was talking. Where was I at? The cheaters. They're following bigger streamers around. They're stream sniping them and just causing them general grief and a general inability to do their stream because they can't even move around the map. They're watching the stream, they're following around, they're using their cheats, and they're pretty much just harassing these streamers constantly. I fortunately have not run into that yet because my stream is not very big, but I know that some of these guys that have hundreds of followers and hundreds of viewers are running into the issue constantly. And so, something's got to be done because the report doesn't do anything, and it's concerning that it doesn't do anything, especially when it comes to the EA games. And then I noticed, I think it was yesterday, EA comes out with this big, long article on how we all need to avoid being racist, and we need to, which is good, and we need to avoid cheating in games, and everybody needs to treat each other right and everything. And it's this big, long thing, and they said we're going to a zero tolerance policy on any of these kind of activities. And they're saying all the right things, right? But my thing with it is I'll believe it when I see it. Until reports start actually meaning something and these accounts start getting banned like that, and it's something that's happening quickly, I don't know. It's just, they're just putting on a face, essentially. They're saying the things that they're supposed to say during this time, but they're not actually doing anything about it. Until there's action behind those words, I don't think anybody should believe that article. That's just flat out. I tweeted that the other day. I mean, that's flat out what I believe. And until there's action behind the words, then I really don't want to hear it. I mean, there's got to be action. We've got to hold EA and these gaming companies responsible for getting rid of the cheaters on their platforms. You can't just talk about how you're going to do it, and you can't just talk about how you're stopping hacks and cheats and racism and all that on your platform. You need to do something about it. The report has got to mean something, and I mean, that seems like something, to me, it seems like something you can do remotely, right? They say all over their website, they're talking about you can't, they're understaffed. They've cut back staffing hours at EA Help and all that kind of stuff. And I get that. I mean, with COVID, like I just talked about, everybody's learning to deal with it. But I would assume these people are still working remotely from home. And it seems like you could go through player reports at home. That seems like something that could be done on your computer. And I just feel like they're not really taking reports seriously, especially even the ones like with evidence. Some of these guys have said they've reported people constantly, and nothing happens for days upon weeks, sometimes even months. And it's these same accounts are running. And then I don't know what the answer is. A lot of times when the reports do actually work and these accounts do get banned, then the guys just come back on a brand new account and they just start up again. And I saw as much on one game. There used to be this guy in Battlefield 1 that was roaming around just headshotting people with a pistol from across the map, and he was running up scores like 99-1, 99-2. I mean, something crazy, right, that people aren't going to be able to do in the allotted time usually. And he was just I saw him for 2-3 weeks, maybe a month, and his name was Rodrigo Gomez in the game, and he just blatant hacking. And I reported him several times every time I saw him. Other people were reporting him, as they were saying in chat, and he just was allowed to run rampant. And then eventually I stopped seeing him, and I was like, okay, good. Rodrigo Gomez is gone. He has finally been dealt with. And then this other guy's, I mean, you kept seeing him. I kept seeing other ones besides Rodrigo Gomez. But then another guy pops up, and I'm playing one day, and it's the same game, Battlefield 1. And somebody in the chat was like, oh, such and such is hacking. And then he comes out. This guy, I don't remember the second username now, which sucks because he may still be operating under it. But this guy, he comes out and says, oh, yeah, no, I'm Rodrigo Gomez. I was him. My other account got banned, finally, and I'm back on a new one. And I'm just like, come on, man. EA, do something about it. I mean, what is the deal? You've got to do something about the cheaters. It just seems like it's such a massive problem on the PC platform. It's the biggest drawback, I think, to PC as a gaming platform. And it's a pretty major one. PC, I think, does pretty well, if not exceeds console in most other regards. There's certain things that I like and miss about a controller. But the cheating is usually pretty well managed on console because they have a harder time injecting the software that they use into the infrastructure of the console. I mean, that's probably a really dumb way to say that, but that's the way it is, simply. And on PC, it seems like there's no response at all. And like Valorant, when it came out, there was a cheating issue, and Riot ended up addressing it. They've got their, what is it called, Riot Vanguard software that you've got to put on there. But it's kernel level, so I mean, it's there whenever you start your computer, and you've got to, as the best I understand it, it's got to be running before you can play Valorant. And if it's not, then you have to restart your computer or something to make sure it's running, and it's got to be running from the get. And that's a pretty advanced approach, I think, a pretty strict approach. But people then, because that's such a strict kernel level approach, then people were complaining about privacy issues, and we don't want that running in, the background even when we're not playing the game, and this and that. And those complaints are, of course, justified. But there's got to be a balance between doing absolutely nothing, like they're doing for the EA games, between Battlefield and I can't think of it, and then like Call of Duty has the struggles with it, and then Valorant, where they do almost so much that people are now complaining about privacy issues and having it almost essentially be like its own antivirus, but then like the computer can sometimes recognize it as malware or something. Like there's got to be a balance, and then there's got to be a way to stop these people from just making new accounts. And I know it's a struggle on a free-to-play game as well because it's so much easier just to create an account. I haven't done any looking up. I know Call of Duty did the thing where you had to enter a phone number to make a new account, and so eventually you're going to run out of ways to create new accounts unless you just start making phone numbers. But I mean, a Google phone number exists. Does that work, or does it stop that? I haven't heard anything more about it, about its success or its failure. So either it's pleasantly doing its job, or it didn't work and I just haven't paid attention, or I don't know. It seems like if it was really, really working, other companies would hopefully be adopting it. So, but since they're not, that makes me think maybe it's not working. I don't know. It just seems like we need to bring, as customers of games, as gamers, we've got to bring attention to this issue. And, you know, I have this podcast, and it doesn't have just a huge viewership, but for the people that do listen, be sure to report cheaters when you see them. We've got to use any bit of power we have to get these guys out of here, to show these companies that it's not okay, and we've got to hold these companies responsible for managing their games and their platforms. I mean, it's just insane that it almost seems like they just don't even have enough pride to get rid of these hackers. I don't know what it is. It's either they don't have enough pride, or they're lazy, or they don't have enough resources or something, which I find hard to believe because EA is such a massive company. And I know it seems like I'm dissing on EA a lot. I play EA games a lot, so that's why I constantly bring them up. But it just seems like they have, what, millions of dollars? Like, come on, use some of that on a functional anti-cheat and actually heed the reports that people are sending you. You've got to do something about these accounts. They can't run rampant for 4 or 5 weeks after numerous people have accused them of cheating or have reported them for cheating. And I know, speaking of the word accuse, I know some people are going to get wrongly accused of cheating. So you've got to come up with a way that you don't ban people that are genuinely good players and are not cheating. Because a lot of times players that are bad are going to get steamrolled by players that have put a lot of time in. You know, for whatever reason, they've matched up into the same game with them, or, you know, if it's a game where there's not a lot of balancing, then, you know, maybe they get stomped. Who knows what the situation is, but you're going to get into a player with a lot of times these bad players will get into games with a really, really good player and then accuse them of cheating because they're so good. And that is an issue, obviously. And so you can't ban the players that are genuinely good. But I think less bad players would blame good players for being good if the hacking was taken care of, if the cheating was taken care of. If reports and actual cheaters were actually banned, then people would be way less likely to fly off the handle and accuse a good player of cheating. It wouldn't happen because you wouldn't feel like everybody out there was cheating because you know cheaters are taken care of. I mean, you see how much better that would be as far as online gaming goes and FPS games. I mean, that would be so much better. And it's in other games too. I mean, players cheat at other games also. It's just FPS games are what my experience is. People would report good players less for cheating if actual cheaters were taken care of. I don't know. I don't know what y'all's thoughts are on that. It seems to me like the industry as a whole has no control on cheating right now. And I think that's a huge issue. And I think they've got to figure something out. I mean, take some of this time. I don't know. Maybe they have to be at their actual workspace to do this. But it seems like take some time to review reports now. Figure out some kind of way that you can better prevent these people from doing this. I don't know what else to say on the topic, but something's got to be done because it's a mess. Anyways, let's move topics here. What else we got in the notes? I wanted to talk about my FOV video that I put up on my YouTube channel. I did a comparison between high and low FOV. I played on both, recorded my gameplay while I was doing it, and then talked about it in the video. So if you want to know what's better, a high FOV or a low FOV, please go check out the video on my YouTube channel. I did my best to explain the pros and cons of each one to kind of help you figure out where you want to be. But I wanted to talk about on the podcast that I was very surprised I managed to pull together more like good clips, more good gameplay with the up-close FOV rather than with the wider FOV. So I played on Battlefield 1. I originally was going to do it on Battlefield 5, but I was feeling Battlefield 1-ish for whatever reason. And I got on there, and I first started with a 50 FOV. So it's the lowest you can put FOV in Battlefield 1. And I usually play somewhere around like the 90-ish range, or 74, I guess, for a Battlefield setting. So it's that was quite a bit lower, and I felt it at first before I adjusted. Everything felt like way slow, and everything's way close, and it took some getting used to, but then I was able to pull off some pretty good clips with the up-close FOV. And then I switched up to, what is the max setting? It's like 120 horizontal or something like that in Battlefield. I set it to the max, and it still did okay. I was able to pull together a couple of clips, but my games were actually not near as good, I didn't think. While I was editing the video, I was like, okay, I have these 3 games that are close FOV, and then I have these 3 games that are a very wide FOV, and then I just went through them and picked out the good moments so that I could put them in the video. And then when I was putting the video together, I would take clips out as I was going, and when I got time to actually put everything in order, I had, I don't know, like 6 clips from the close FOV, and I had like 2 from the very wide FOV, and I was like, whoa, okay, what's going on here? Because in the video, I talk about, well, it's better to have a wide FOV because blah, 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 and I mean, theoretically, yeah, it is. I mean, everything I said in the video, the pros for a wide FOV outweigh the pros for a close FOV, but for whatever reason, the close FOV, I had better games. So it could just be I had better games just because I had better games, and the FOV was irrelevant, but I don't know. Maybe there's something to it. So I've been actually playing around with my FOV more since, kind of sliding it up and down, putting it in between, checking different things out to kind of see. And for most of the games, it seemed like the closer FOV actually worked better. And it could just be because that's more what I'm used to. I did talk about, or I wanted to talk about also, I was playing on Battlefield 5, and I was using the M2 carbine, and I was doing fine with it the other day without changing the FOV, but I did actually bump the FOV up all the way on Battlefield 5 to its max and put the 3X on the M2 carbine, and was just like lasering some people with it, because I talked about in the video, the wider you make the FOV, the wider your view is, both directions, it makes recoil seem less. It's visually perceived to be less because your view is a lot wider, so the movement seems less, and for whatever reason, that a lot of times makes it easier to manage as a player, even though the actual recoil value on the gun shouldn't have changed. I mean, I could be talking out of my ass on that, but the actual recoil value that's built in for the gun shouldn't be changing, regardless of what you have your FOV set to. It should stay constant. But the visual perception of the recoil just seems less, if that makes sense. And so I definitely noticed it with the M2 carbine and had a lot of fun with it. One day I streamed and I played with it and did really good. And then the very next day I jumped in and I did pretty awful with it at the exact same settings, same wide FOV, same 3X, all of that. I mean, didn't change anything and just couldn't pull it together. And I think that is a testament to, I mean, some days are just good, some days are bad. It's not that the settings were bad, it's just that maybe I was having a worse day the second day. Or, for whatever reason, maybe the settings aren't as good as I thought and it was placebo. It could be, that I thought, okay, well, I'll bump this up, the recoil will go down, and I had the confidence to just manage the recoil better because I thought the FOV was going to help me out, and so I ended up doing it. I don't know. I'm not sure what the case is there, but I've since bumped my FOV. I don't know. I've been bumping it up and down, like I said, depending on the gun I'm using. So if I'm rolling out with a Sten gun, an SMG in Battlefield, and want to be doing a lot of hip firing, a lot of times I'll actually lower the FOV because I'm not getting so much of a zoom factor by using the ADS. So I'll bring the FOV back down a little bit so that I can keep everything a little bit closer in front of me and, not have to be zooming in. I can just kind of put the crosshair on without ADSing, do my thing, and move along. Whereas when I'm trying to do something a little bit more scoped in, or use a gun that's maybe got a little bit more recoil, like the M2 carbine or the Type 2A, which I actually haven't used on PC yet. But those kinds of guns that have a lot of kick, you can bump the FOV up, have a play with that, and see if maybe that ends up being something that you want to use full time. I don't know. I still haven't decided. What I'm probably going to end up settling in on is just my regular, probably about middle of the pack FOV, where it's somewhere between the 74 setting in Battlefield or like the 90. That'll end up being like a 90 16:9 FOV or a 106 16:9 FOV. Somewhere in there, I think, is my sweet spot. I tend to play, I think, a little better within that range because you kind of get the best of both worlds. The targets aren't super small due to the FOV being really wide, but you can also, the recoil is somewhat more manageable because you're not just right up on your gun and you're seeing it, jump up and down like that. And so, I don't know. I'm going to keep having a play at it. You'll see it on stream if you come check it out. I'm probably going to be cycling settings around quite a bit, but yeah, I guess that's what I've got to say about FOV. Let's run through an ad real quick, and then we'll be right back. All right, we're back. Let's jump into Titanfall 2. I wanted to talk about it because as of 2 or 3 days ago, I don't know. I'm not sure if it's still going, but I got Titanfall 2 a few days ago, 2 days ago, and it was on sale on Steam for $10. Not sure how long the sale is running, but if you've got some money to spare and you want to check out a new FPS game, that if you haven't played Titanfall 2 yet, you need to try it out. It's really fun. It's a shame that the game didn't have more of a chance in the limelight. I think it just had a rough launch against Battlefield 1 and whatever the Call of Duty of that year was, and so it kind of got pushed to the side due to those more popular games kind of running it over. I know Battlefield 1, of course, was a very popular entry into the franchise, and Call of Duty is just always massive because it's Call of Duty. So it'd be tough for a game like Titanfall, which the original Titanfall was, I think, like an Xbox exclusive or something. So a lot of people didn't get to try out the original Titanfall. And then you release a sequel, but I think it goes to everybody, but you put it up against two larger, more popular franchises, and I just don't think it really had much of a shot. But Titanfall 2 is a lot of fun. I just kind of picked it up on a whim. I saw some other people were trying it out, and I've been feeling kind of bored with just playing Battlefield and Warzone, so I've been wanting to try something new. That's why I tried Destiny 2 the other day. I considered jumping back into Apex, but I don't really like doing Battle Royales unless I just have to. I just don't like those game modes, like I've said before. And I wanted a new multiplayer to jump into, and like I say, I tried Destiny 2. Crucible's crazy hard. Have I talked about this on the podcast yet? Crucible is like insanely hard. I couldn't figure out what was going on. I don't remember if I talked about this last week or not, but I tried a little bit of it, and dude, there's just people jumping all over the place and like strafing in the air and like dropping grenades and purple swirling stuff on me, and I just die immediately and can't figure out like what guns to use. I don't know. I'm going to have to put a lot more time into that multiplayer or just the game in general to figure out more what you should be doing in order to play that game successfully. It's going to take it's a lot of what I know from Battlefield was not transferring over to that game. It's just very different kind of feel. I mean, as far as like moving and aiming goes, like I had that down, I've got, utilize cover and all that. I've gotten so much better at doing those things, but there's just other stuff that players are able to do in that game that I don't quite understand how to work against or operate. I can't do it myself, and I don't know how to counter it yet. So Destiny 2 is very difficult, and saw Titanfall 2 was available on Steam and was like, you know what, let's try it. And so I downloaded it and jumped in and had an absolute blast. 2 evenings ago, and I was already tired from, I had streamed earlier Battlefield 5, and it had been a long day, and I was like, you know what, let's just jump in, and I had a ton of fun. I actually played really well, got a couple firsts and seconds within the first couple of rounds, which was, that's always fun. And it's just a really fun experience because you run around, it feels very much like Apex, obviously, them being in the same universe. The mechanics all feel very similar. What am I saying? A lot of the guns are actually the same, or the predecessor of a version that's in Apex. So it's very much just an Apex Legends multiplayer. I mean, a lot of the pilot abilities that you can put on your soldiers, or your pilots as they call them, are abilities that are in Apex Legends. Some of the Legends have the exact same abilities as some of these pilots, where you can like shift into a dimension and then another dimension and then come out the other side. So that's Wraith. One of the pilots has got like a stem that they use, and it's like a health boost, or a health regen boost, and then extra speed. So there's Octane. You've got two different pilots that both have, like, one creates holograms and disappears, and the other one cloaks or something. So that's Mirage. And then I don't know, there's a couple other ones. One's got like a sonar or something, so it's kind of like Bloodhound or Crypto. It's all very, very similar. It's essentially Apex Legends, but a multiplayer where I don't have to play BR, which is super nice. And it's also very sad that I missed the game at its prime. I guess I should mention on top of that, I mean, you start the round as a soldier, right? Or these pilots. And then as you go, you charge a meter down in the lower left of your HUD, and then you can call in your Titan, and then you're just battling in a giant mech, which is awesome. And the maps are neat because I think the maps are really well done because they cater to both the pilot's playstyle and then also to the Titan playstyles when you call in your Titan. So it's just you're a larger player essentially, and it's really neat to see how, okay, now suddenly this building or this wall, this giant structure becomes my cover, as opposed to just a box or a car or a doorway or something. It's cool to see the difference between the pilot size and then the Titan size, and you kind of have to move about the map differently, and I just think it's really, really neat. And it's a shame that I missed the game in its heyday, because I think I would have enjoyed playing or sinking a lot of time into it. And it's a shame that other people missed the heyday, because I think it deserves a little bit more attention. And I've read that on Reddit and Twitter before, but never really, tried it for myself. So I was like, I mean, I'm sure it's probably true, but it really is true. Like, I think the game's actually really cool. I'm sure it's got its issues that I haven't discovered yet, and, like a lot of things, the novelty will eventually wear off. But I just think it's a fun game, and I'm going to definitely put some more time into it, probably try to level up a lot of the guns that I like, at least. I'm working on the R201 right now, which is, of course, is the predecessor to the R301 that they have in Apex. And I've just about got the first Titan with all of its different things unlocked, so I'll probably move on to a different Titan pretty soon on it. But I streamed Titanfall 2, what was it, yesterday? Had a lot of fun. I mean, the 3 hours that I stream just flew by, whereas opposed to with Battlefield 5, a lot of times I'm just like, trudging through it, because Battlefield 5 is such a chore to play sometimes, where I felt like Titanfall 2, it's fun, the respawns are quick. It doesn't take super, super long to get your Titan, so you're constantly either engaged in like pilot level battles or engaged in the Titan level battles, and there's mixing between the two, so you can take out pilots, and I think it's a fun experience. And the player numbers are growing, so there's people to play with too right now, because it is on sale and it's new on Steam, and so people are hopping in, people are playing, and I think people are having fun with it. I mean, it seems like player numbers are going up from what I've read. So I encourage anybody that listens to this that hasn't played Titanfall 2 yet to give it a shot, try it out, and see if you like it. And for players that do have Titanfall 2 or have played before but haven't played in a while, now I think is a good time to maybe hop back in and try it out, get some more people out there on the battlefield, and we'll have it out with our Titans and whatnot. I think it's a lot of fun. So I may stream it some more. I may not. I may keep it off stream as like my fun game or something. I don't know. We'll see. But I just wanted to bring that up because I think that one needs a little bit of attention too. That some more people need to play it. It might encourage Respawn to make maybe a Titanfall 3 or like another installment, or I don't know. The possibilities are out there, I think. I mean, it's a good game. People seem to like it, but I think it just got buried. I think it was released at the wrong time, and so that hurt its chances quite a bit. But I think it's a cool game. I could see them doing more with maybe the Apex, Titanfall. Like, there's got to be more in the works, right? They've got to be thinking of ways that they can, because they're part of the same universe, so they've got to be thinking of ways to be blending these together. And I don't know. I think it'd be cool to see a lot of the things that are in Titanfall 2 in Apex as well. Like, why is there not wall running in Apex Legends? That would be sweet. I mean, Apex Legends has already got like really good movement. I enjoy the movement in Apex, but I mean, it's virtually the same as what's in Titanfall 2. It's just in Titanfall 2 you can wall run. So why not in Apex? That'd be awesome. Is it a balancing thing maybe? I don't know. I think it would be cool. But that's because I haven't played with it. Maybe it'd be broken in a BR. I'm not sure. But played some Battlefield 4 last night. And I think I finally figured out how to use the RPG. I just now noticed last night when I was playing that there's 2 more red marks when you're looking down the side of the RPG. I was always looking at the post, and there's like a little red dot on the tip of the post. That's what I was using to aim. But then I noticed last night that there's 2 red marks that are just below the post red mark. So like the post is, up here, and then the 2 red marks on the side are like down. Of course, if you're on the audio podcast, you can't see what I'm talking about, but on the video one, I'm kind of doing crazy movements with my hands. But anyways, the 2 marks on the side are lower than the red dot on the center post. And so I was like, let me aim with those and let's see what happens. And I started doing that, and I started hitting a lot more stuff. So I guess maybe I'm dumb for not ever realizing those were there. But I tried it out, and I started hitting tanks and stuff a lot easier. And then I actually was able to sink 2 helicopters last night. One of the videos, or the clip, is up on my Twitter right now. I uploaded it last night after I did it. And that's always a good feeling, because anytime I can counter a vehicle in Battlefield 4 more effectively, I'm a happy person. Because the Battlefield 4 vehicles just run me over constantly. I hate them. I've said this before, and I get a lot of flack for it. People are like, oh, well, dude, the vehicles in Battlefield 4 are easy to counter. They're so weak and terrible. Like, I don't know how you're not just destroying them, I mean, people will tell me that, and I'm like, I guess I hadn't figured it out yet. But I think aiming with a different spot on the RPG is going to end up helping me. I don't know. I'm going to try it out some more. I'm hoping to knock out some more helicopters, but that was the first time last night, actually, that I played Battlefield 4 in a while, and it's got such a different feel to it than Battlefield 1 and Battlefield 5 do. The gunplay just feels drastically different. It's much more similar to Battlefield 3, I think, and I think Battlefield 3 was kind of clunky, to me anyway. When I played it on Xbox, I didn't enjoy it, but that's because I was coming straight off of Battlefield 5. So, I don't know, maybe it's not super clunky, but a lot of the things that you can do in Battlefield 5 and 1, and to some extent even 4, are just not even present in 3. I don't know. To me, 3, even the buttons, because I played 3 on Xbox. I haven't played it on PC yet, but I played it on Xbox, and I felt like some of the, not keybinds, but the way they set up the controller buttons, like controller binds, what do they call it? I'm blanking on the term. But I feel like the way they set up some of those was weird to me. I didn't like some of the choices. So I wanted to like custom map a lot of things because they were in weird spots, at least for my preferences. But Battlefield 4 is, I had a pretty good couple rounds last night with a friend of mine, and I don't know, I need to give it a couple more looks, I think. I tend to just get annoyed on Battlefield 4 with the vehicles. But if you can get on there and the vehicles aren't just completely stomping you, it's actually a pretty good time. It handles differently, if that makes any sense. What else, man? Kind of running out of steam here. I got to finish this up too because I got to get on stream here in about another hour and 15 minutes, hour or so. Speaking of streaming, kind of difficult, you know? I always knew it was going to be difficult. I mean, these big streamers, you got to hand it to them that they've worked their asses off to get to the point where they're at. I mean, they've spent and put the time in to grind to get up to that point. And I mean, I'm no stranger to wanting to grind and get there, but it is tough getting going. I had pretty good success on Twitch, like the first 2 or 3 days of getting back to it with, you know, better internet, and then since then my numbers have dropped quite a bit in viewership. I've got a couple people that pop in usually every stream, some lurk, but the numbers just aren't quite where I want to get them yet, and I'm having a hard time getting people to come over from other platforms to Twitch, unfortunately. I'm gonna have to do some tweaking on that, but I want to get the numbers up on there somehow. I may have to change my schedule or play better, or I don't know, be more of a personality. Maybe I'm not enough of a personality. We'll see. Or just probably early in the game, honestly. I think consistently being there day after day on a consistent schedule, eventually things will start getting better. I think the games that I choose to play are also probably limiting growth a little bit. Or maybe they're not. I mean, it may not be good to go after a game like Call of Duty where there's 96,000 people watching at any given point. But, you know, you just look at that 96K and it's like there's so much more of the pie on that game as opposed to like when I stream Battlefield 5 and there's 230 people total watching. You know, it's just such a vast difference. So, I don't know. And then, like, you look at Battlefield 1. The other day, Battlefield 1, there was, like, less than 100 people watching. Battlefield 4 actually had more people than Battlefield 1. And so I'm usually pretty much playing Battlefield 1 or 5 or, yeah, I mean, those are the ones that I'm playing on stream. So to see that the numbers, the potential pool of viewers is so much lower on those games, but it could mean that, you know, I don't know, but it seems like if people are watching streamers on those games in particular, they probably already have their favorites picked out. Watch small streamers, you know. I'm trying to get going here. I've got a little bit of you know, stuff on everything though, so maybe I need to focus down. I'm not sure, but I just want to talk about the Twitch difficulties, you know, that I'm having. It's the growing pains are real, and I have no doubt it'll get there. It's just, you know, it's a slow process, and I understand that. Nothing happens overnight, otherwise everybody would do it, right? But I'm constantly working on improving my game so that the gameplay can help retain people, and then I try to talk the whole time to where, you know, it's a lot like this, where I'm just talking about either what I'm doing or, I don't know, here lately I've caught myself kind of in the habit of raging at Battlefield 5, and I'm sure that's not very fun to watch, especially because my raging is not actually particularly entertaining, I don't think, or maybe it is, I'm not sure, but I hate to get on there and just constantly rage all the time, because I feel like that would be I try to be like positive towards the game, but a lot of times Battlefield 5 is just a chore, and I mean, I enjoy the game, but some days are just, y'all all know it if you play Battlefield 5, you know the days I'm talking about where it's just a mess. And some days are just like that. And I think this past week, a lot of days have been like that. That being said, when I stream here in about another hour, I'm probably going to play Battlefield 5. I think it's time I hop back on there again after playing Titanfall 2 the last 2 days. I think we're going to hop back on Battlefield 5, work on some assignments some more. I think it'll be nice to get off the Sten gun, but I'm working on... I pretty much decided I'm going to start trying to go for gold camos again. I don't know why I'm putting myself through that. It can be awful. It can be an awful process because of the way they've designed that. But I'm trying that out, so we'll try and get some of that done. I'm going to continue to play around with FOV too, just because it's fun. It's something to do. Something to, I don't know, mix up the gameplay loop a little bit. But I guess that'll about do it. I think we're about out of time here. I've at least pretty much run out of topics, and we're getting close to that 40-minute mark. So yeah, I guess we'll call it pretty good here. Really appreciate you guys listening. If you made it this far, let's get the word out. If you enjoy this podcast and you know, if you like it, get the word out, share about it, and let's see if we can get some more people on it and listening to it. I would really appreciate that. Because I want to keep doing it, but it eventually is going to get old just doing it to deaf ears. And I hate to, be that way. And I'm going to continue to do it, but, let's get some more people on here. If you think somebody would enjoy it, share it with them and let them know about it. It's going to be on the audio version, of course, on the major podcasting platforms. Actually, good news on that front, I'm on the iHeartRadio app now. So if you have the iHeartRadio app, the podcast is available on there as well. We're on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. There's another one. It's on Spotify. It's on Anchor. Those are like the really big ones. So you can check out just the audio version there if you're feeling like, just put it on whenever you're doing something like cleaning the house or driving to work or, going on a road trip, on a plane, whatever. You can throw it on. That's the beauty of podcasts. If you can do the same thing on YouTube too. If you're sitting at your computer, I'm going to put the episodes up on there as well, because now we've got the visual component where it's just me sitting there recording the podcast. But for people that want to watch it on YouTube, I thought that'd be a cool idea to put it up on there. So we're going to have the video podcast is going to go up on YouTube every week as well. And just if you want to do the video component, be sure to head over to my YouTube channel and like and subscribe over there when you enjoy the episodes and want to see more. And then check out the other socials, of course, as well: Instagram, Twitter, Clutch. I've got a Facebook page as well, and I'm probably missing one. TikTok. I don't know. I'm a little bit of everywhere, and you can see a little bit of highlight clips and all the other stuff on the other platforms. So anyways, guys, we're going to wrap it up there. Really appreciate y'all listening. Again, if you made it this far, be sure to rate and review and follow the podcast. That would be really awesome. I've also got a little donation link if you're feeling generous and you want to donate some stuff to help keep the lights on. I've got to pay for the internet service that keeps all this stuff going. So any little bit helps. I know it's tough times as far as financials go, so of course don't expect it, but it is very appreciated if that is something that you're up to doing. So I will catch you guys next week for the next episode, and of course if you want to stop by stream later, I'll be streaming on Twitch from 2:30 to 5:30 Monday through Friday. That's 2:30 to 5:30 Central Standard Time, so you'll have to adjust based on whatever time zone you're in. But 2:30 to 5:30 CST over on Twitch at HotSauceZee is who I am there. That's the time frame we're shooting for. If you want to stop by and say hi on stream, that'd be really cool too. All right, guys, I'm out of here. I will see y'all next week. Take care.